Of most beneficent, most merciful. We are right now reciting Surah Yusuf, which is found at the end of Juz 12 and the beginning of the 13th Juz. And Surah Yusuf is the only surah in the Quran that actually gives such a long story of only one prophet. There's also Surah Al-Qasas that you could look into, which talks about Musa alayhi salam in detail. But Surah Yusuf is the scope of it is that Yusuf alayhi salam's life. But let's go back into the background as to why such a story was used. Ahsan al-Qasas. The Quran talks about that story being the best of all the stories. So why is it the best of the stories? We'll look into it, but before we say, well, it's the story, what was the reason for revelation? Why was Surah Yusuf used? Because the last few years in the Meccan life of the Prophet ﷺ, when he was there and before he is ready to migrate, this surah is revealed. Now all of the leaders of Mecca, they are going to come and ask the Prophet ﷺ about this Prophet Joseph. What was his case? What is the truth? Why did Bani Israel went to Egypt? So it's a question that they acquired probably from the Jews who were at that time dealing with the Quraysh. The Quraysh knew about Ahlul Kitab and their stories, but they did not know about Yusuf alayhi salam. The Meccans, the people in general, had no clue about it. So they asked the Prophet, thinking that the Prophet ﷺ is not going to be able to answer this. And at that moment, the Prophet ﷺ recited these verses. And this was a proof against these malak, these leaders of Quraysh, that this book indeed is revealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Prophet Muhammad had no idea about who Yusuf alayhi salam was. This is a revealed information. So this is the reason why it's called the best of the qasas, the best of these stories. Also in the beginning of the ayat, and this is for us, all of the Muslims, to pay attention, whether you're an Arab or not. You know, people tend to think, well, what is this about Islam being an Arab religion? It's not, but just listen to Allah's statement. He mentions, إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ قُرْآنًا عَرَبِيًّا لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. We have indeed revealed this book in Arabic, an Arabic Quran, so that you may understand, تَعْقِلُونَ, have common sense, be able to distinguish between right and wrong, تَعْقِلُونَ, with aql. And this is the key feature that Muslims always have learned this language, Arabic, the Quranic language. Other than that, there is no opening to the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have to have a direct meeting with Allah when you're reciting the Quran al-Kareem. Now, the story has many aspects, about 10 or so, that I divided up. But I'll mention it how it relates to the life of the Prophet ﷺ and how it relates to our lives. You know this story better than I do. So I'm not going to go into detail because I don't have time for that detail. And we're listening to the Shaykh, we should pay attention to what he's reciting. When the brothers are plotting against Yusuf alayhi salam, there is a simile, there is an ishara that's given to the Meccans because they were also plotting against the Prophet ﷺ. They threw him in the well and they wanted to imprison the Prophet ﷺ. Just like the wife of Aziz, just like the wife who wanted to imprison the Prophet ﷺ, although she was the one who tried to seduce Yusuf alayhi salam. As we know in the story that when he was in the house, she said, come to me, and the Prophet of God, Yusuf alayhi salam, said, Ma'adallah, I fear God. And in it, there is a lesson for young people, and I want to relate to them especially. Why is that gender relationships in Islam? If you look into it, what the society is talking about, they're not talking about love. The whole idea and what is being sold out in the marketplace, it's also a similar word, but it's spelled L-U-S-T, lust. Go after your lust. Obey your thirst. These are the ideas that they're implanting in you just so that you become one of these people who are simply consumers at the end of the day, spending money and dollar bill on something that they want to sell you. So this is the idea. The Quran talks about love between a husband and wife. It doesn't talk about lust between two individuals who are not recognized by Allah as in a pact, as a promise that they make to each other that they're going to live their life ethically and morally upright. So this is what we understand. Now the shirt of Yusuf alayhi salam, it's going to pop up 3 times. Interestingly, when I was out in the parking lot, I had 2 shirts and I lost my shirt yesterday, and then I looked up the surah that I was going to recite, and it comes up Surah Yusuf, and it mentions the shirt 3 times. I want you to look into it and read what it talks about, the 3 times. The first time, Bida min Kadhib. The brothers of Yusuf, they put the fake blood on the shirt, and they said, oh, Yusuf was eaten by a wolf. Look into the stories, and I won't mention the 2 other times. Now also there are 3 times that the dreams are mentioned in the story of Yusuf alayhi salam. One time, the first time is that he said the sun and the moon and 11 stars are prostrating to me. And then the 2 other times the dreams are mentioned. We know the dreams of righteous people are true in fact. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them this bushra. And the Prophet ﷺ told us about this, that indeed if you see a dream that does not go against Sharia, then perhaps it's a good news from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He's trying to tell you something or giving you glad tidings.
Ladies में आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Also, the one where at the end of the day, when the brothers of Yusuf alayhi salam return, and they are standing in front of Yusuf alayhi salam, and he says to them, لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم وهو أرحم الراحمين. The same statement when the Prophet ﷺ, after 10 years or so, returns to Mecca, and the Quraysh who are standing there, and they're waiting, and the Prophet ﷺ asks them, because he has conquered the city of Mecca, he says, what do you think I'm going to do with you today? And the Meccans, they recognize the punishment that they are going to have. But then they say to the Prophet ﷺ, you are our brother, son of the most generous of our brothers. And at that time the Prophet ﷺ, he recites this verse and he says, I forgive you and may Allah, there is no blame on you, I forgive you and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the best of the ones who forgive, may He also forgive you as well. So in Surah Yusuf, there are many stories that we could relate, not only to the Prophet Yusuf, but also the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to our life. We have to open up the Quran and start seeing where exactly is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talking to us. And that is every word, every ayah, and every letter in the Quran al-Karim. So